Hey everybody, it's Lee from the Geek Show podcast with my co-host in crime, Kerry Jackson.
I didn't see you there.
Wow, I'd almost believe you for the fact that we've been talking about Star Trek for 10 minutes already.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is another patented Geek Show deep dive into one of my favorite Star Trek shows, Star Trek Picard.
And spoiler alerts, we're going to talk about the details. So if you haven't watched it yet, go watch the episode.
We've already gone to Condition Red. Condition Red alert has been already set up. And also, folks, if you are enjoying what we're doing, make sure to like and subscribe because we want to keep on doing this. You know what happens to guys our age when we can't make our money on the on the YouTubes anymore? We're out in the street turning tricks.
Do guys our age make money on the YouTubes? I don't know.
Hey, I know.
I guess if you're Glenn Beck, that's probably... Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Well, the possibility's there, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to talk about something else entirely. Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 7, Dominion was the name of the episode. And, boy, do we know why now.
Yeah. Now, this episode is one of those where it's you stop and take a breather episodes, but also a lot of stuff still goes down. The action is slowed down so we can learn some things, and it's important to learn some things, and we do learn a lot. It starts out with a bang, though.
It really does, and it's funny because something I didn't realize until I was putting my notes together for this deep dive, this was a bottle show. Bottle shows aren't typically this good.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like, there's no... Because in the old days, it used to be like if you had an episode that was shot entirely on the ship, you would go, oh, this is a bottle show because we had no budget. We spent it all on Planet Hell. We can't shoot today. So you get some great ones, like the one where Beverly relived the destruction of the Enterprise over and over and over. Fantastic bottle episode. But for the most part, it's Picard and kids in an elevator shaft singing Frere Jacques.
Don't remind me.
So this one opens with the Titan in a junkyard. Oh, and what a junkyard it is. Thanks to Geek, we know which junkyard this is.
Now, I didn't catch this.
Yeah, okay, so I'm going to hop right over to this real quick. Pardon me. It's the Chintoka scrapyard from the Dominion battle with the Breen and the Dominion that blew away a huge chunk of Starfleet in Changing Face of Evil on DS9. This is the scrapyard.
That's what this is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even put that together. Oh.
So normally I wouldn't be sending people to anybody else, but Den of Geek put together a fantastic list of Easter eggs. Not a ton in this episode, but just that little right to you.
Yes.
As 7 of 9 is talking to an old friend.
Yes. Oh, and this was spoiled for me before I watched the episode.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him too.
I was on Twitter, and there it was. So we get to see Tuvok. He found his way home.
Yep. His degenerative disease seems to have eased from the last season of Voyager, which is great. And I love also. Yeah,
go ahead.
The new covert ops uniforms that the bridge crew's wearing. It's.
These are the we're in trouble and we're on the run outfits.
I want them. I want them. This is daily streetwear to me.
We all do.
We're going to have a Vespa gang.
Exactly. Were I thin enough to wear that, very close-fitting material.
Look, Liam Shaw's got a little belly on him, and he was pulling it off. So I think even a portly gentleman like myself, a fine, distinguished gentleman of taste, could wear that jacket.
So we start out, and there's 7 of 9 talking to Tuvok, two old friends, and they're talking about stuff they used to do. And
they're all trying to analyze his voice pattern to see if it's really him, and it's inconclusive.
Can't tell. We're not sure. Is it him? We know that Starfleet's been infiltrated, and he's sitting there in Starfleet. And it was just a minor slip-up.
Yep.
And 7 of 9 figures it out.
It's so perfect, too, because she's become like the ultimate changeling detector, because she got the one that was pretending to be Sidney LaForge. It's just like, ha, wrong name. So same thing with this is how they were able to stabilize. As a Vulcan, he wouldn't have gone to the site of a Romulan atrocity, all these other things. And so they cut the frequency. And I love why LeVar Burton should have never had to wear that stupid banana clip in the first place. That man is a phenomenal eye actor. And so watching him freak out, like, we got to cut it. It's so...
Exactly. It's just terrific. But then there's Tuvok, and he's like, suddenly he goes from being Tuvok to evil Tuvok, and just like that, Tim Russ pulls it just like that.
Yes, he does. And boy, good year for him. He got to do that bit in Poker Face too. So he's having a definite good time. So everybody wants Jack Crusher. We know this because, of course, Vadic is sitting on the Shrike. She's talking to her bacon face guy, who's telling her that everything's going to go poorly for all the changelings if they don't get Jack Crusher.
Well, you've got to do this. I'm a bad changeling.
Yeah,
well, it comes hanging down like a hand almost. But
yeah,
anyway.
It is made of hand, but it's almost like the MCP from Tron if it was made from bacon.
Yes, MC Bacon.
MC Bacon.
MC Bacon. All
so, and yeah, he can manipulate her form without being around her, which was pretty trippy. And I think, I've been watching this season again with my wife who wanted to get caught up. First time Picard hasn't put her to sleep. She's riveted.
Wow.
I think everybody on the bridge with her are changelings that can't hold their form. That's the impression I'm getting.
Is that why they're done the way they are? Okay.
Yeah, they have to wear their bone masks and all that other stuff. So,
all right.
Fantastic. So, Jack, to quote Nightmare Before Christmas, something's wrong with Jack.
Something's up with Jack.
Something's up with Jack. Oh boy, and he's.
I'm still not sure what the deal is with Jack.
No, who was Kirk's old friend who went to the edge of the universe and got psychic powers? Gary.
It was in Where No Man Has Gone Before. No?
Yeah, first Kirk episode. That's the only one I can think of that has this level of psychic ability. Like. Did they go to the edge of the universe? I don't know. Is the edge of the universe even a thing? I don't know.
Well, we're learning more and more about what's up with Jack. The tendril thing, we've established that, but the psychic ability, that's new, and the fact that he can project his thoughts and receive thoughts.
Yeah,
is new this week.
We get this at the end of the episode. We're going to go ahead and jump forward with Jack's storyline, just blitz right through it. So we know that the changeling plot is completely predicated on them having Jack. There's a great line where Vadic says, he's not for me. And then he says to Crusher, he wasn't for you either, which is just what's going on there, right?
Yeah, that one confused me.
Yeah. And then there's another bit, we'll get into the how and the whys, but there's another bit where he's able to, I don't know if he took over Sydney's body or if he was just projecting, but there's a beautifully choreographed fight sequence where Jack is flipping, dodging, jumping, rolling, and Sydney's choreographed matching him perfectly.
I think he had control. I think he
did too.
I think he was like Xbox. I think he was controlling her,
Yeah.
and it was kind of like, let me in and I'll take care of this. And she went, okay.
Yeah.
You know.
Boy, oh boy. And that kind of choreography is really hard to pull off. It really is, to have people synced like that. So I think there's some dance training of both of these actors.
Probably.
Okay.
But that was a fascinating little sequence where we learned more about what's up with Jack. I'm not going to say his powers yet because I don't know what the deal is.
We don't really understand them at all, except for the voice now we have identified as Beverly's, thanks to CBS's closed captioning, basically saying that the voice he's hearing in his head is Beverly's voice saying, "Find me." Well, she's right there.
He's not meant for you either.
Yeah, boy. A couple other things we get. No one knows what's going on with Riker. Rafi and Worf are they're on assignment. They are not featured in this episode, although you do see a moment of Riker's real jacked up face, supposedly from the changeling's torture.
Well, yeah, just pale and scarred, and says, "I'm as good as dead, just like the rest of you."
Yeah, and Vadic says that she was not able to crack any of the people that she had captured, so we have to assume that Deanna Troi and Riker didn't give up anything.
Didn't break.
So,
yeah, which they wouldn't, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. So Jack comes up with this plan that they can lure the Titan to them in the scrapyard, because it's only a matter of time anyway. And
because he's the bait,
he's the bait. And meanwhile, they decide that they have to go to the one person on the ship who has all the beams, who knows exactly what's going on. Why would the changeling steal Picard's body, for instance? There's so many things that they don't understand yet. It's in game, and they're only playing with half the playing pieces at this point. And so they go to reactivate Data, who, by the way, has B4 and Dr. Sung acting as backup knowledge, and Laura and Data as the front personalities. And I loved the reason why that they conjecture for this. Kerry, I'll let you go with this. It's kind of
well,
cool.
I didn't. Maybe you understood it better than I did. I just got the feeling that Laura is the dominant personality. I mean, he is always, because of the emotion that he has. And Data, even though he doesn't have emotion, does get afraid.
Yeah.
And I think that it's also a fear of him seeing his body hurt his friends. And I think maybe that's kind of why. What's your theory on this?
The balance of ego and id. Laura is all ego and Data is all id. And so putting those two personalities co-piloting the body, the golem, would allow them to be human, because Laura's too out of balance. He's all emotion, he's all impulse, he's all instinct. Data's analytical, he's calculating, he's thinking through everything, to the point where when he did have that emotion chip in Generations, he was overloaded with what to do because he was too busy thinking about it. So putting them together maybe gives them that, as they said, opportunity to be human.
I think that's that. You've summed it up just perfectly right there.
Maybe.
I think so, but
I was so hard on Spiner back in the 80s and early 90s, and I gotta stop.
Well, I mean, I think the reason that we were hard on him is because he was kind of a dick. But
yeah, but the switching from Data to Lore.
Oh, it's brilliant.
It's so good. It's so good. And Lore is, Geordi sums it up in a way that I don't think that we had quite the emotional intelligence as a culture at the time to understand that Lore isn't necessarily evil. He's just chaos. That's all he wants, is chaos. He wants that thrill of chaos and destruction and things being out of balance. That kind of, I mean, he's definitely chaotic evil if you're going to look at your D&D alignment chart.
Exactly.
And Data is absolutely lawful good, right? So, yeah, maybe you can get that true neutral person in there.
And I would be a damn bit surprised if the writers were using that chart to go,
probably.
Here's how we do it.
Well, let's throw a little D&D in there, right, and make it work. So they get the Shrike there, and the Shrike sends over a shuttle because, as we learned from Ensign Rowe, there's something about transporter beams that no one trusts.
And the transporter beams can detect a genetic anomaly.
We think, right?
That's kind of what I've been led to believe.
Okay.
So that's why they don't want to use the transporter, because it would detect them and maybe shut down or not beam them or something, capture them inside the transporter. Who knows?
I was just wondering that, because the changelings that were with Rowe's security detail definitely used a transporter to get over back over to the Intrepid. So, but that ship was compromised. We know that already. So
this is the part where we learn, and it's funny. A lot of Star Trek fans are very upset about this. And
because Starfleet wouldn't do that.
I understand their thoughts on that. I understand their logic train. But at the same time, I also like a good story. So I'm willing to let it go. I'm willing to let that happen. We learned that Section 31 really is not good. Well, I mean, they mean well. Let's put it that way. They mean well, but their methods are unsound. To quote Colonel Kurtz, their methods are unsound.
Yes.
This is where we find out that Vadic is actually a copy of a one-time Starfleet Section 31 scientist. And Vadic was, learning about the changelings, and when you do that, sometimes torture.
And Amanda Plummer, this is amazing to me. She's so good. She's so amazing. Good. The choices she makes in line delivery here, and there's a great bit with John Frakes talking on one of the podcasts I was listening to, saying that sometimes they would be getting ready to plot out a scene or pace out a scene, and they'd be shooting a scene with Amanda Plummer, and you couldn't find crew because they'd all be just slack-jawed watching
Yeah.
the scene that she was in.
Oh, I sure as hell would.
Yeah. Somehow she managed to make a person messing with what is assumedly food dye-colored cream of wheat and little vials of gold liquid, and you feel like she's torturing those vials of liquid. She was acting against vials of liquid and
Yeah.
making them real.
And
it was
making
the-
it
yeah.
and convincing you that I'm hurting a being with, you know, thoughts and feelings and
Yeah.
pain sensors, and she convinces you with that prop. That's how good of an actress she is. She's always been that good.
Amazing. So yeah, Project Proteus is a project that was set up by Section 31 to weaponize captured changelings into being the perfect undetectable soldiers, because you could drop them into a hot zone, they assume the form of the enemy, wipe them out, and leave. Because you're not going to...
Like the Skrulls in Secret Invasion coming up.
Like the
Anyway.
Skrulls in Secret Invasion, or, you know, a more a cognizant version of my zombie death theory that I have, but we'll get into that some other time.
That's another deep dive.
That's another deep dive. But yeah, that's the tone they have when they talk about solids is just like it drips. But this time it's not just scorn and spite. It's like it's earned. I hate the solids because
you understand now. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, again, that's some of the best storytelling in the world is when the villain is kind of right. You know,
right.
You know,
right.
I've learned that from the Marvel movies. You know, if you've got a villain that is kind of right, you know,
Well, and that's why Shaw was so good early in the season, because Shaw was right about everything.
he was an a-hole, but he was kind of right.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly. And so Proteus is the reason why they're able to pass. I mean, as Crusher put it a few episodes before, it takes blunt trauma to the internal organs just to get them to revert to goo. The blood is identical. They can match the blood types, the blood phenoms. Everything works, and it's all because they tested these changelings with viruses and all kinds of other things to make them perfect changelings, therefore creating the own instrument of their destruction, which again, great theme, right?
Yeah.
We created our monster, and they created this renegade faction of the changelings. Also, her takeaway, because Beverly Crusher's talking earlier about building another virus that they can use to wipe out this new strain, this new evolution, therefore committing genocide.
Again.
And they're like, well, we did the right thing last time that we made a virus. We gave it to the Great Link, blah, blah, blah. And then Vadic comes back and says, no, one of our own had to take it to us. So again, it's that perception that, you know, well, we're the good guys. Are you? Are you, though? You wiped out a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. You created a virus to kill us, and then you gave us the cure.
Yeah.
You know, you think giving us the cure is making you a good guy. Maybe not
Right.
so much.
And
you know.
Robert Smith's amazing, and I'm sure he could take care of a lot of stuff for us, but, you know.
Well, he's already helping us with our fees.
Yes, he is. Thank you. First Ticketmaster, then the Dominion. Thank you, Robert
next.
Smith. Ah. So there's a bit where they're running around. It's Jack and it's Geordie's daughter. They're running around, popping up force fields and playing hide and seek with these changelings, and it's so great. And then it leads to that bit with the "let me into your head so I can
body
help
takeover,
you,
yeah.
help you Jim Cotta your way out of this."
And as one of our people in chat here pointed out, I want to make sure. Oh, Vincent Case, the eye thing with Jack, the glowing eye thing.
Yeah, this is the first time somebody else has seen it.
What's up with that?
Yeah, because Sydney definitely noticed his eye this time around.
Yes.
So, what's up with that? Oh my gosh! So at that point, the shields are starting to buckle, and Lore is taking over the ship. And Geordie's like, "Damn it, Lore! Give us the ship back. My daughter's gonna die." And then you get some more amazing LeVar Burton eye acting where he's at the window that's separating the two of them, shades of Kirk and Spock. Is the ship okay, Jim? I have been always your friend, blah, blah. And his eyes are welling up with emotion. You were my best friend, and when you died, I learned what it was to be human again. I had to put myself back together. And Lore's like, whatever. And the shields go down, and Vadic disappears, and everybody just takes off, and then Data comes back.
A little late,
help.
buddy.
Little late, buddy. Little late. But there's just, you forget you forget how tight Geordi and Data were, because they didn't
They
play
were
with
best
that
friends.
in the movies.
Yeah.
That was a show thing. That wasn't a movie thing. And so
they only touched on it in the movies. You're
Yeah,
right.
so
in
just
the
seeing
show, they
them-
were best friends. Yes.
just seeing them so tight together, and just like that friendship and that camaraderie and that love Geordi has for his friend, and that's what makes you human, is the people that love you, right? So you get this bit where Shaw and his security officers are going to be badasses and stop the changelings from taking the bridge, and that
Well, we
went
got to hurry. We got to hurry because Frontier Day is coming.
Right. And that is the real mystery here. Vadic has this bit. She takes over the Titan. Shaw's crying on the bridge. He's busted to pieces. She's the captain of the Titan. She got what she wanted. And there's this whole thing with Frontier Day. Why do the changelings need Picard's body? And there's a hypothesis.
And I had the same hypothesis before they said it. And
Good.
when they said it, I went, no, it's too easy.
I'm obviously wrong now.
I'm obviously wrong. If they're just saying it, then that can't be it. This is a distraction,
Right. Because Picard, as an admiral, was going to be giving a lot of pomp and circumstance style speeches.
Speeches and all that.
Yeah, so who better to get in there than a changeling that could be Picard?
And if it's Jack's body with, I'm not for you, if it's Jack's body with a changeling, Beverly, I'm just guessing, then the exact duplicate of Picard can go in and wreak whatever havoc it wants to on Frontier Day.
Yeah.
But it can't be right because they said it.
It just can't be right. Now, there's another thing, and I almost forgot about it. They were doing some scans, and they were talking about how there is another anomalous life form in Picard's body. Is that
Yeah.
Borg tech? Is that... This is
don't
the
know.
positronic body.
This is a different body.
Yeah.
See, this is some writing. This is some of the best Trek. I'm telling you right now.
It is.
They're doing fan service, and I've never thought those are bad words, honestly. They're giving us fan service, but they're also giving us some great story.
They really are. Vincent just pointed out again, Vincent's being our deep lore expert here, that the Dominion were cloners. And I forgot about the Wayuns. They were
That's
cloners.
right. The Wayuns and the gray dinosaur aliens, they were clones.
The Jem'Hadar were all clones of
Jem'Hadar,
each other.
thank you.
Yeah. And also, Andrew Kehoe in chat brings out that he's still hoping the big brain bugs from Conspiracy are in the wings, waiting to be revealed. Again, if you haven't seen Conspiracy, it's the one time that you get to see a head get melted by phasers.
Let's see. Shipwreck Sean, I'm hanging on to the thought because I'm wondering who is giving the orders to the changelings. That's also a good question.
Right.
And someone brought up, there it is, Shipwreck Sean. I'm on board with Vincent's thought. Thank you, Vincent, that Jack may have been touched by the Pa Wraiths.
The Pa Wraiths. Oh my gosh.
That's a deep dive.
It is, and it fits. I mean, if you're talking about the Dominion and if you're talking about the changelings, I mean, the Pa Wraiths were the darker side of the prophets within the wormhole that went between the quadrants in DS9. And they communicated with Gul Dukat, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't that
Gul
their big
Dukat
thing?
was taken over by the Pa Wraiths.
He was like the Pa Wraith's version of Cisco hosted in Gul Dukat. Well, Cisco was the agent of the prophet. Or was the prophet. There's a bunch. And 3 episodes to unlock it all.
I know, right? That's the thing. I mean, I'm sure next episode we're going to figure out Jack's whole thing. I would think that, the way that they're laying the cards out right now, I think they're going to let us know what Jack's thing is in the next episode. I don't know if they'd play it that maybe, I don't know.
Well, that's what Vadic says at the end, is that Jack Crusher, my dear, it's time you learn who you are. So we may get that pop there. Let's see. Keiko had the red eyes when she was possessed by the Pa Wraiths. That's Vincent.
As did Dukat from Shipwreck Sean.
Yep. So okay. So was Jake for a time. Well, okay. So yeah, it could be the Pa Wraith. The Geek Show Detective Agency has been open for business, and
you guys are great. You guys have figured it out long before us. I mean, I think that's a very plausible theory. It seems like a deep dive, but a plausible theory.
But I mean, obviously, these folks that are writing this show right now are they're true geeks. They know their stuff. They know their things. So let's get into the Den of Geek Easter eggs that they had here. Of course, the Chintoka Shipyard, which is great, featured in Tears of the Prophet, the Siege of AR-558, and the Changing Face of Evil. So that's why there's such a big scrapyard there for the ship to hide in.
All right.
Tuvok, of course, coming back, and he was suffering from a degenerative neurological disease in the last season of Voyager, but obviously he's a captain now, so that's been taken care of. Kalto and Kolinar are both mentioned, the anti-Kolinar demonstrations being how she knew that Tuvok was not Tuvok.
Okay.
Data clearly remembers the Scimitar, which is the ship that he was. That was the ship that Shinzon was in charge of in Nemesis, and Data had ejected himself from that to save the crew. So his last memory in the new body is of the Scimitar.
The Scimitar, that's what he meant. Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember the name of that ship. I should have figured that out.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. And again, going back to Nemesis, like doing some of the work that I think the Mandalorian's been doing for Star Wars of, let's reference some of the things that didn't quite work and try to make them better. So
let's make them work. Yeah.
Picard assumes that Lore had been deactivated at some point, and that actually happened in TNG episode Descent Part 2, where Lore was deactivated after trying to bushwhack Data and some renegade Borg. So that's the whole Hugh of Borg storyline, and Hugh featured in season 1 of Picard. Data told Picard at one point to let him go and die in peace, referencing season 1 of Picard, and that Data his memories have been living in quantum simulation for several decades. So that was going back again to Picard season 1 and asking to be let go, not knowing that the Golem had been created. And this one you're going to love. When Vadic boards the Titan, she has this little sleeve thing, tricorder, where she pops up, pull up the thing. That was the tricorder sound from Wrath of Khan and Search for Spock. So they gave us a little treat there, a little deep dive, a little audio ping that we can all cherish and love forever.
I loved our chat room speculation that Captain A-Hole may have served under Admiral Jellicoe for a while. I like that theory.
Some great stuff there. So, 3 episodes left. One of the strongest seasons of any Star Trek ever. And
I gotta say, you know,
I can say thank you so much for the 10-hour movie that I never got to see. It's just one solid story. They don't need to skimp on anything. It is I mean, like, they could just end it all with all of these characters could be just done at this point. I don't think that's going to happen, but they could all just sail off into the sunset at this point, and I would say that's the ending they deserved.
And it's interesting. Oh, Andrew says we still haven't seen O'Brien. Fingers crossed. I mean, you know, they pulled Tuvok out of nowhere. Come on.
I just need O'Brien and Bashir coming out of a holodeck suite somewhere in the background, you know, because they're still going on their bro dates while Keiko's down on Bajor.
Well, and we know that Lower Decks is canon, so that means that Quark is too busy running his empire of, you know, Quark bars that are out there.
His franchise Quark bars.
Now the social medias, of course, I occasionally keep an eye on, and boy, people are really pushing for a Captain A-Hole series. They really.
Yeah, he's one of those characters.
They've named it already. They're calling it Star Trek Legacy. I mean,
Legacy.
That's the social media's their idea.
Well, you don't want to name it after the ship again, right?
That's true. One guy made an intro sequence using footage of Picard of this ship and playing the music from Strange New Worlds and kind of mimicking the same shots. I mean,
I would watch it. I would watch it. I would love to see it. I would love to see what I'd love to see is a larger show set in this time period where we can visit some of those legacy characters from TNG, Voyager, Next Gen, DS9.
Did we write that show, Lee?
Well, we wrote a show called Memory Alpha. And Memory Alpha was an anthology series where they went down to the Memory Alpha planet, and the caretaker of Memory Alpha would generally tell stories or give people access to things, and that way we could have any period of time, again, our story. Our whole story was we wanted Kelsey Grammer's character from that fantastic explosion horrific episode to have to go to Memory Alpha to find out what happened during his 80 years when Captain Morgan Bateson was lost.
Yeah.
That 80 years that he was lost, and filling back in on that. And that way we could have those stories of, the
filling in the cracks. Yeah, filling in all the cracks of the stuff that we knew we weren't going to get. That was our proposal for a series.
It was.
Of course, yeah.
Well, we were drunk and we pitched it to a swimming pool in San Diego, so I don't think we did it right. Yeah.
And my drunk girlfriend at the time. And she had no power to do anything about it. So.
She could have greenlit a show about Jimmy Buffett, but not about Star Trek Memory Alpha. All right, folks.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for just sticking around and letting a couple old dudes ramble about Star Trek. That's our whole heart right now.
It is right now. And you're going to have to put up with it. I'm sorry.
I just saw one of the, just this week, fantastic Trek, fantastic Star Wars. I just kind of looked back to 8-year-old me and said, "Oh, just buckle up, kid. You don't know what's coming."
It's so funny because Andrew points out, because I let everybody know that Star Trek docuseries is on Amazon now, The Center Seat. And it has done it to me again. It's made me want to go back and actually watch the animated series.
Oh,
but it also, it makes a compelling argument that the animated series should not be, brushed away.
There were some good writers on the animated series.
They did some daring stuff on that show.
They did. And not all of it having to do with screwing people out of contracts.
Exactly. Fascinating dive. But it also makes me, because we're talking about the Changelings and the Dominion War and all that, I've just started into the Deep Space Nine era of that. Mm-hmm. And how that show didn't get the respect at all at the time. But it's gotten the respect now because of streaming. Because the way that show was designed, and it was ahead of its time, the long arcing story.
Yeah, because Star Trek was mostly anthology. Or not anthology, but non-linear. Like they didn't want to tell
They didn't want to
story.
Because it was in syndication.
Right.
And they didn't want to have to, not watch them in order, because one market may play this episode and another market play this episode.
Right.
And because of streaming, that has come back. We still haven't gotten our 4K resolution yet, but we've got it on streaming, and people are now saying that that's some of the best Trek. And I would say yes, until Picard Season 3.
Brennan Braga, Season 7 of DS9, his final interview on Starlog magazine, his closing shot was, "You'll miss us when we're gone." And I don't think he could have been any more right. And so what I'm seeing now and what I'm hoping that we see in the future is being able to take a character like Picard and tell a story of that entire generation of characters. Because Next Gen was so much more than the sum of its parts. It wasn't just 7 seasons of the Enterprise. It was 7 seasons of DS9, 7 seasons of Voyager. All of those shows, they fit within that time frame, and I think it's important that we celebrate that because it was a huge part of our formative geek movement. I mean, we didn't have that for so long, and then we had it for 16 years. Mm-hmm. So
and as I was reminded, we're old enough to remember being geeks in the 70s, and you couldn't be as proud of it back then as because you'd get beat up.
Yeah.
But now it's not geek or pop culture; it's mainstream culture.
It's mainstream culture.
It's all throughout everything. Anyway, thanks you guys.
Thank you so much. Make sure to like and subscribe. We've got a whole bunch more coming. Not just the 3 episodes of Picard that are coming up, but boy, oh boy, we just saw the trailer for Secret Invasion, and guarantee you we're going to be talking a lot about that.
And Blue Beetle, too.
Oh, gosh. Live long and prosper, everybody.